Hey, Munson here from expatsportugal.com with the Get Out and Grow crew, the Fresh Air crew for the Happy Homesteaders show, the gardening Q&A that we do every Monday evening from 6:15 Portugal time. It looks like it's been sunny all day in the capital in Lisbon. That could be a bit misleading, right, Lee? It's been raining the proverbial, isn't it? Gato e caos over there in Lisbon, Portugal.
It's been a bit damp all day, yeah. Let's put it lightly. Yeah.
Damp all day. So just when you could be cracking on with stuff, you have to come inside to do the Q&A. We thank you for that, sir.
Oh, it's my day off today. Last of my holiday days. So it's been a relaxing weekend and back at it tomorrow.
Yes, you've been out and about in Portugal, haven't you? How was it?
Oh, it was lovely. Went up to see Jason Hall, one of our regular listeners, and then called over to see Pete Bleach. And Jason now just messaging. So Jason, yeah, had a nice weekend out.
There we go. Fantastic. Great to see you here, Jason. Oh, Jimmy Chew's just come in the room. That's a nice turn up for the books as well. Anna and John also here from Devon in the United Kingdom. How's it going over there? Looks nice and bright, Anna, or is that studio lighting?
I have got 2 lights on in my bedroom, but yes, it's looking quite good. It's actually sort of fairly mild here at the moment, about 13 degrees or so. Nice seeing the later evenings as well, because of I've just about got used to the clocks having gone forward. So yes, and the weather's not looking too bad, and I think spring is just starting to get going as well. So all good.
Excellent stuff. What's up, Lee?
Have you seen the weather? Have you seen the weather forecast for the UK next week?
What's happening?
You better get your bolts out, Anna. It's going to be chucking it down next week for you.
Is that Evelyn or another one that's coming in?
I don't know what the name is, but it definitely looks like canoe weather.
Okay, yeah. Lee has issued a warning there. I think yellow, possibly, maybe orange. Let's call it canoe weather, as you just said there. Thank you, Anna. Good to hear from you. Canoe weather for you, John, just down the road from Anna. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, good, I think. Yeah, decent. Yeah,
good,
not too bad.
We've got an angry emoji. Kathy Bow. Can you give me a phonetic pronunciation, Kathy, of your second name so I can get it right forevermore after this? I'm hoping that's a slip of the finger, or she's angry about the weather in the UK. I don't know, but let us know. And lots of other lovely greetings this evening. OLP here. Bournoid, snowing. What? Snowing in Oregon. Look at that. A bit unusual weather for mid-April. Let's have a photo, OLP. Hola, Happy Homesteaders. Baldylocks also here. California tonight. Hope everyone is well. How you doing, Baldylocks? Always great to have your company. And the aforementioned Jason Hall with the Boa tarde, amigos. And you can see that's the lovely Quinta from where Jason is saying good afternoon this afternoon. And we're hoping to do a tour there very soon when the weather picks up here in Portugal. It shouldn't be too long. Hola, Boa tarde from Chris, Capricorn 12 as well. And lovely pictures in from you, Sharon. We'll show those a bit later on. Hola from a rainy, then sunny, then rainy Sintra. Yes, it's April in Portugal. That's what happens. En Abril, Aguas Mil, and Eric Huiza in Mexico. Boa tarde todos. Fantastic. John, do you want to voice this yourself?
Yeah, okay. So if you forgot to let Anna know about your question or have only just thought of one, let us know here.
Boom. Excellent stuff. Yes. And Anna, that's a really good point at which you can come in. What sort of questions do you want? Any and all? And how would you like them?
I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm still getting used to how to use social media, but I guess as long as it's gardening related, I think, we've just, any questions are welcome. And just happy to keep an eye and make a note as much as I can.
Good on you. So, well, I will put the group name, the group link in the chat. Oh, we've sorted it out with Kathy. Bit of early customer service there, jumping on this issue. Slip of the finger, sorry. Didn't even know I'd done that. So sorry. Not at all. It just feels a whole lot better to have resolved that, Kathy. Speaking about the weather, says Eric, we had some rain yesterday, which is highly unusual. Unusual weather all over the place. We normally have rain between August and November. Happy days for our garden. Tell us a bit more about where you are, Eric. And isn't it amazing? Have you ever lived anywhere like that, Lee, where the weather is normally predictable in that way, where you only have rain between August and November? What is that like?
No, I'm from Manchester, Scotland. We just get rain all the time. And coming out to Lisbon has been a real eye-opener.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tell us more, Eric, and everybody actually. Kathy, Baldylocks, OLP. Tell us about your growing conditions and your dream garden. Tell us about that as well. Your fantasy garden. Boo! From Deborah Davies. Dee Dee is here this evening, as well as Cindy B. Good evening to you both. Boa tarde to you, Cindy. And T Duck is here as well. Nice weather for ducks. Boa tarde, jardineiros and jardineiras. So I think we do. Do we have some moldy pumpkin business going on there somewhere in our question pile, gang? Maybe not.
Not something I've heard.
Right, okay.
There was a question coming this morning, John, that you mentioned about.
That was the mildew.
Mildew.
I see. Right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know where it was from. I know you mentioned it early this morning.
Right, mildew dealt with in a bio way. This is the question. So I don't know how I got onto moldy pumpkins, but anyway, how can mildew be dealt with in a bio way, presumably an organic way, pulling out or burning?
It's a really good question, and it's going to be more relevant in the next couple of weeks, especially in Portugal, because we've had rain today. We've got rain forecast tomorrow, but after that, it's going to get warm now. We're looking at 30s by the end of the week. So definitely here in Portugal, we're going to start seeing mildew appearing, and it's something everyone suffers with. So there's lots of ways to treat it, but the best way is to try to prevent it to start with. So by pruning your big leafed stuff like squashes and courgettes, as soon as the leaf is past its best, take it off. Don't compost it. Don't burn it. Put it straight in the bin on the street. Get it away from your garden. So just keeping that airflow, getting rid of all the old leaves, keeping the airflow going, stripping all the tomato leaves off that are no longer producing as well. So all the lower tomato leaves, clearing them off, it allows the air to flow, and it stops the water from splashing up. I'm skipping ahead of myself there. Mildew is caused by a bacteria or fungal that's in the soil, and when you're watering, it splashes up onto the big leaves, and that's what starts off the mildew. So the best way to deal with it is to try to prevent it from the start. But then, if you go, it's inevitable that we're all going to suffer from it at some point during the season. So my two favourite ways to deal with it is, first of all, there's neem oil, which I recommend every gardener in Portugal should have, and most gardeners in England need. Cheap to buy, easy to use, safe to use. Although I wouldn't spray it onto flowers because the bees don't like it. Doesn't kill them, but it sends them a bit loopy. So if you use a neem oil, don't put it directly onto any actual flower. Just use it on the leaf. Then the other one is 50-50 mixed with milk. So a pint of milk to every pint of water. Mixing that works really well. And then there's one other, which is mouthwash, like a Listerine. So a litre of water needs two teaspoonfuls of Listerine, and that works really well. There were many others.
How is it? A milk and water sounds so inoffensive compared to mouthwash sprayed onto plants.
I believe the milk and water trick, it gets the leaf fighting with its own natural. It helps its own natural antibodies work quicker.
Oh, okay.
So that's more of a defense mechanism.
Yes.
Where the Listerine is antibacterial and pretty much kills everything.
I see.
So I really like mixing.
I see. So you're stimulating the plant's own healing response, or going on like a topical and killing it off. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So milk gets the plant's own rhizomes working stronger and better, so it can defend itself against the mildew. But that's also saying that you still have to strip off the leaves that have got the mildew on, and the milk is treatment for future protection.
Very interesting.
But when you very first start seeing it come through, if you can use the mouthwash trick, so it's just a litre of water, 2 teaspoonfuls of mouthwash with a spray gun, and spray it on the leaves. It works wonderfully.
Okay. And so depending on how bio that person wants to be, and I'm not sure who asked this question, but thank you for it anyway. Depending on how bio they want to be, I guess the least offensive of those is the milk, and the most powerful topical treatment would be the Listerine.
I'd say the least offensive is neem oil, if you can, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it throughout the garden all year round anyway.
Yeah.
You can make a big mix of it. It doesn't cost very much. It's available on Amazon, and it's really quite environmentally friendly because it's all natural products inside it. So I'd always recommend neem oil. But if you don't get it or you don't want to use it, you find it too complicated, go for the milk and Listerine. Works just as well.
Very good.
Again, planting those big leaf plants and tomato plants and pepper plants, planting them further away as well.
Yes.
You'll see a lot of the problem especially with tomatoes and peppers, is when the plants are too close together.
Yeah.
That's just a hotbed for stuff like the mildew. So decent spacing on your planting is a good way to start.
Right. Very interesting. And just without turning it into the whole show of a mildew special, although some people might quite enjoy it. Am I right in thinking, and without wanting to be indelicate about this, is it like athlete's foot almost for plants? That the damp causes a certain problem, and then that becomes contagious for the plant?
It's a fungal disease, that lives in the soil.
Yes.
So once you've got it in your garden, you've got it in your garden, unfortunately. And it needs proper treatment to fight back every year. But yeah, once the dampness comes in, it's just like hot days and cooler nights, and it just explodes. And then you get it on the leaf surface, and it just then spreads throughout the plant. And can do stuff like the courgettes. It doesn't kill them straight off. It takes a week or two to actually kill the plant. But you have to deal with it as soon as you see it. Otherwise, you're going to start losing big leaves, and then your plant's going to struggle from then on.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that insight into mildew, and thank you to whoever it was who asked the question in the first place. Up to come later on, 10 ways to be more sustainable in your garden. Nice one, John. John will talk us through that article there. But look, unexpected item. Mrs. M is here, who wanted to talk about germinating plants. Germinating seeds, I should say. Good evening to you, Mrs. M.
Hello, everyone.
Nice to have you
Good
here.
evening.
Very much. Now, you had a little bit of an issue because we brought seeds with us, didn't we, from UK to Portugal many years ago, and even some of those you'd had for a few years before that. And you were thinking, these your hair looks lovely, don't worry. These seeds, these seeds are long gone. They're not germinating. But you did a little hack and you've brought them back to life. What did you do?
Well, not exactly. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay.
No need to shout.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I was testing a load, and I think maybe the way we were storing our seeds wasn't very good, because I've had really good life out of them up until last year, and I think in this last move we might have just, I don't know, ruined them somehow. And maybe Lee's got some great advice on that. But I decided to put them in some little paper and spray them, and then wrap them in some of these, and then they've been wrapped in towels and put on a very cool but slightly warm radiator for 3 days. And so I've been trying to germinate these tomato seeds and pepper seeds for weeks in a little greenhouse. But look, I had a look, and actually I've let them go over a little bit, because can you see all the sprouts that have come up?
Oh, perfect! Brilliant.
So,
excellent.
And I've been trying to do melons as well, because the kids love melons.
Melons. Are they there?
Well, oh, what happened there?
I thought you had melon seedlings. I thought you had melon seedlings to show us as well.
Well, I've got loads, but I won't bore you. But basically, I've got a whole bag full of loads of layers of seeds. I've got about 10 different things that I haven't been able to germinate, that have germinated in just 3 days. And all I did was put some nice kitchen roll down, squirted a little bit of water, folded them up in a plastic sheath, and then wrapped them up nice and warm. So I'm well chuffed, because there were some really nice ones, you know, like little green grape tomatoes and heirloom ones and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd share it.
I think you were probably a little bit too early for trying to germinate them in soil, because we're still getting quite cold. We're still getting quite cold nighttime temperatures. So unless you're insulating that and keeping that on a hot bed or in a covered greenhouse where you're protecting it from the nighttime temperatures, then they're not really going to be germinating that well yet outside.
Okay.
So all you've done is you stimulated them naturally indoors, and now you can pop them out. But just
that's what I'm going to do now.
Just be careful. Don't do it the next couple of days. Leave it till midweek, because the temperature's going to change dramatically here in Portugal. Yeah, I think we're still in for a cold night tonight and a cold night for tomorrow night. Although, if you want to put them in soil and keep them indoors, put them on the kitchen windowsill, that'll be fine. Just don't harden them off too quickly. Don't put them straight outside, because they might just suffer these next couple of nights. But,
that's great.
So I'll harden them off in the kitchen or in a nice spot in the house, and then later on this week get them outside when the sun comes out, and they'll be great.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And that's a good reminder for me to zip up our little portable greenhouse as well, because I've got some nice little tasty treats growing in there. Well, thanks for letting me.
I got a small heat blanket for the greenhouse last year that we used here, because I was germinating quite early, and it's just a small rubber mat that plugs into the mains, and it just gives enough. When you put it inside those little poly greenhouses, and it's just enough temperature to stop the frost or to stop the heat from going down into single figures, and they're dead cheap on Amazon, and they work brilliantly. I'll find the name. I'll have a look in the shed and find it, and I'll post an image of it on the Facebook page.
Nice.
Dead cheap, and it gives you the extra couple of days or the extra couple of weeks, so you can start a little bit earlier. Yeah.
No, that's great, because we've just received some cucamelon seeds through the post, so I'm looking forward to doing that as well. That's great advice. Lovely. Thank you for that. And I'm going to grow these as well. I can't remember. I think these are a bit difficult.
What is that?
I can't see what it is.
You've got your finger on what it's called. Sandorn. What is that?
Yeah. They see. I can't remember what they're called. Sandorn is.
Yes, a sea buckthorn, is it?
Yes, the little orangey yellow things. But apparently they're really difficult to do. But I'm going to give it a go. And I'm trying to do some moringa trees as well. Trying to get some moringa trees going. So I'll let you know how that goes. But
bunch of hippies in Portugal.
He's absolutely
I'll leave you to it.
just so quickly going back to your first comment when you first came on. Storing of seeds is dead simple.
Oh yeah.
I've had seeds I've stored for like almost 10 years in the past. When you buy too many of one thing because it's on a bag and you never get to use it, and it ends up in a. All mine end up in a zip tie bag, inside a carrier bag, stored in a cool, dark place in the back of the shed, and they never seem to fail to come out. And I've been using, the same tomato seeds I bought when I moved to Portugal. I started growing tomatoes 3-4 years ago. So I'm still using the same packets of seeds, because they come with hundreds in them, and I only need 10. So
exactly,
it's a shame to throw them away when you can just keep reusing them year after year. And I'm a northerner, so I'm all about saving money.
Same here. I'm all for it. Well, thanks so much for your advice. Hi, John and Anna. I'll leave you to it. Have fun.
Thanks very much for that. Appreciate it. And, I think as well, we had Eric jumping in there, responding to that. Thank you, Eric. My wife, he says, sometimes grows seeds using damp tissues and putting them in the fridge for 2 weeks before doing so for an artificial winter. So it works both ways then.
Well, we've talked about this, how necessary it is for garlic to have the artificial winter.
Okay.
Before you put your garlic out, think back, Carl, think back. Well,
yes.
Put the garlic in the freezer or put it in the fridge for a couple of weeks. And I'm not sure whether it's necessary for all seeds or whether it's just a bit of an old wives' tale. But I did work with a guy in the greenhouses one time. He used to do it with the marigold seeds, the geranium seeds he used to grow. And it was never any different to me popping them straight out of the packet and putting them straight into seed trays. We got the same result, but he swore by it. He wouldn't do it without putting them in the fridge for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So, whether it's an old wives' tale or whether it actually does something. I'm not really sure, but I know it's definitely necessary with garlic.
Yeah, and rituals are important to gardeners, and why not? And why not? If it doesn't do any harm, why not go through that? Deagle's here, everybody. You know, I'm thinking of trying sand growing. Is it hard? And do I need a special sand? Thinking of carrots. Now, while Lee's answering that question, and I think Anna's got a question from Phil, and I think John's got a question from the OLP about tomatoes. So we'll come to those in just a moment. But growing in sand, what do you reckon? I'm going to do a Deagle slideshow while you're answering that.
Growing seeds from growing carrot seeds in sand is really quite simple. Carrots love it. Carrots will germinate virtually anywhere. There are other plants that really need more structures to the soil. But yeah, any sand will work for carrots and radishes as well. Radishes are the same. But they do tend to need a bit more water a bit more shade in the midday heat, because obviously sand absorbs more heat and it gets hotter and it can cook your seedlings much easier than using proper soil. So just be aware of where you're going to place them in trays, or if you're going to use it in a bed where you're using more like 50% sand to soil ratio. Yeah. Okay,
good to know. Thank you for that, Lee. That's terrific. And those pictures, where else are you going to see drowned slugs in beer? Apart from here on the Q&A every Monday evening. I mean, that's a somewhat grotesque and morbid shot, but I think the beer trap has done the trick there. A happy end for those particular slugs. I want to ask you about these, Deagle and Lee. Lovely shots from your garden this afternoon. Thank you very much, Deagle, for sharing these. 913-590-303 for anybody who wants to share lovely pics of their garden. We love showing those on a Monday evening. But those stand-up beds at the back there, we bought a couple of those. And they feel so right, but they dry out pretty quickly in the Portuguese environment, don't they? Yeah. So again, sort of thing, be careful. But they're a nice little greenhouse before things get run the risk of being burnt.
Well, we've talked about this in the past as well. I think, were those from Leroy Merlin, the ones you got?
Yeah, similar, Agrilogia or somewhere like that. Yeah, Bricamage.
Now, there are some that come with a watering mechanism, which is like a tube that runs down the base of it and runs underneath.
Yeah.
Or you can make your own, like a direct water system from. But still, because they're plastic, because they're raised off the ground, the air's getting to them, the heat's getting to them, they're just going to dry out much quicker than using terracotta.
Yeah.
Using pot plants, the pot just retains the water for much longer in the daytime.
Yeah.
And doesn't get as dry. A lot of people have been getting the ones from Leroy Merlin. A lot of my customers have got them, and I've warned them as soon as I've seen it. I'm not having any part of that. That's going to bake. Whatever you put in it is going to bake. So either keep them in the shade or be prepared to water them twice a day, morning and late afternoon.
A good caveat.
But yeah, but they are great. The ones that I've seen that come with the greenhouse cover.
Yeah.
That I've seen ones that come with a vented plastic cover. They're great for germinating in, but it technically is just a large, expensive germinator then, because you're taking them straight out there to put them into popper pots. But,
all right, good to know. And a nice work level for kids as well, and somebody in a wheelchair, I guess, as well. There's another advantage there. Deagle, thank you so much for that. Eric's been back to us talking about stable weather conditions. In here, we almost always have sunny days. On days when it's cloudy, we feel like as if it's a bonus for the garden. Look at that. A cloudy day as a bonus. It only rains between August until November. Temperatures between 26 and 38 centigrade year long over there in Mexico. Amazing, Eric. Thank you very much. Growing conditions others can only shake their heads at, I think, possibly there. And a question for you before we go to those other questions, John and Anna, Lee, from Eric. Some of our plants have little black insects, almost like small ants, but different. Shall we attract bigger insects with flowers so they get eaten, or have you got a better biological idea? Any ideas there, Lee?
Soapy water. I actually know what they are. I dealt with it last week. They're appearing in one of my gardens, and they're coming onto the Eugenia hedge that I put in last year. And I only really noticed because the Eugenia started to shoot up this year, and there's 3 plants that just aren't moving. And I went over to examine them, and they were full of these little tiny black beetles, little tiny spots, but hundreds of them. So I've treated them with washing up liquid now for 2 consecutive visits, so over 4 weeks, and it's done the trick. They've all just died off nicely. And they're like little brick mites, the little buggers. But there is soapy water does the trick, or soapy water with a little bit of alcohol in it, like the hand wash we've got for the COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
That works wonders. So yeah, just spray it with a bit of soapy water. Or you could actually go back and use what I suggested earlier for the mildew. If you're using the Listerine, that does the same job. That's quite a good insecticide. If you've got a direct insect to spray it onto, if you're not trying to do a preventative measure, if you're doing a direct kill, then the Listerine and water trick, that kind of does it. Yeah, does a good job of it.
Yes, excellent stuff. Help me out here, John, because I'm trying to find the.
Yeah, it said something about. Hang on, I'll just read. I'll read it out tonight.
Not tonight. Oh.
Or where is it? Yes. Oregonians living in Portugal posted
on you,
at
mate.
6:27 p.m. I don't know if you want to read the question out, Anna, or do you want me to do it?
I can't see it on the screen at the minute.
Sorry, I got frozen out there. I'm not sure what happened in my absence, but I think here it is. I found it. There we go. You were talking about mildew on tomato plants, weren't you? Question, Lee, what is your favourite variety of tomatoes to grow in Portugal?
Well, my favourite is the cherry tomatoes by far, just because I enjoy eating them. They're really productive, and the plants actually look quite pretty. I've got a tomato bed, which I'm doing plum tomatoes in this year. I'm doing all my tomato plants in pots on the at the front of the house, and all my peppers are in pots as well, because I actually think they're quite nice. They're prettier than geraniums and marigolds.
Yeah.
And if you get your timing right with the seedlings, you can have a constant supply of cherry tomatoes from sort of next month onwards, really. All the way through summer. And we eat them. It's one of my top 5 that we buy every week. So it's a no-brainer for me. Cherry tomatoes. Brilliant.
Cherry Toms for the head gardener there. Just going back to Deagle for a moment. Lee, I bought 1 sheet of polystyrene and I put it down in my greenhouse to be a barrier between the ground and the racks. That's a good idea, isn't it? Belfast can be a cold place. Would you approve of that?
Yes, yeah. So talking to Jason about something similar this weekend. If you've got low-lying area where you're going to suffer with ground frost, just something as simple as letting the grass grow that little bit taller. Or if it's a hard surface, a little bit of polystyrene, a little like an old yoga mat, anything like that that's just going to take the edge off the concrete. But yeah, a really thick polystyrene, a really thick plastic sheeting will do just as well. It just stops the cold air from rising off the concrete. Yeah, works wonders.
Let's face it, though, who hasn't got an old yoga mat lying around in their house? Most people do, don't they?
Well, I used to use a camping mat. I would go camping. I would use the same mat all year, and then at the end of the year, I would cut it up and use it for squares for underneath my seed trays, just to give them that little bit of protection. Because every year you need a new camping mat. So that was my old routine.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. I think everyone who looks at a camping mat now will think of you after that little hack there. Fantastic. Deagle sprays the cover with light water as it's cooler in Belfast, so we can grow a decent crop in the raised covered propagators. So he's a big fan of those. This is the 3rd year growing in them. So yeah, obviously tried and tested for you.
I think Deagle's going to get more use out of them because he doesn't get the higher temperatures and direct sunlight that we're going to get for days after day after day. Being back in Belfast, he's not going to get the 30s. He's not going to get the 28s for a week and a half.
Indeed.
So they're much more suited to the climate that Deagle's using them in. And back in England, where Anna and John are, they will be perfect. They're just not good for Portugal.
Okay. Lee, do you use the original plain Listerine? I guess any version of mouthwash is gonna. What is the active ingredient? What is the active ingredient in that?
I don't know. I think it's just alcohol based, but it's just a good. It's just a good product that I've seen used. I've used it myself. It works well. So
that's why people like that mouthwash in it, because it's a first taste of alcohol in the mornings. I think
it's antibacterial, isn't it? So
it is.
Just,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
But
John,
but it's not as strong as using an alcohol, a direct. I mean, if you put the hand wash that we use, you put that directly onto the plant, you're going to kill everything. It's going to work like a weed killer.
Yeah.
So the Listerine's a little bit softer. Yeah.
Okay, something you'd be prepared to put in your mouth, basically, is a good guide there. John, I think you were amused by something there. Was it the alcohol content of mouthwash?
No, not really. I can't think now. I was just thinking, because obviously we were talking about insects on the plants and putting mouthwash on the plants. Just thinking, but don't ever put insects on your teeth to clean your teeth. Obviously.
Well, it's as though, the garden on the face of it is a really cool place, especially if it's Lee's garden. You get a wash and you get alcohol if you're an insect there, but in lethal amounts, sadly. We have a lovely house plant. We'll come back to this. Look at that. Pride of place in T Duck's house. We're going to come back to caring for house plants, because some people have got the knack with those. Some people definitely haven't. I think it's fair to say here that Phil is in. Great to see you here, Phil. And Phil has hit the lichen button. Well, hey, do you want to read this one, Anna? Well, everybody
Phil says, I have what looks like, I never know if it's pronounced lichen or lichen, I've heard both, but basically that on fruit trees, which orange, pear, etc. Is this bad? My orchard is new to me and has been neglected for years, thinks about 20.
Wow.
What should I do about this, after some pruning?
Yes,
Well,
great question.
You're actually really lucky, because lichen, and that's how it's pronounced, lichen, is an indicator of clean air. So you only get it in areas that have got really good air quality. So that's a good indicator for your actual living space. I presume you're here in Portugal, because every neglected garden has lichen all over all the neglected fruit trees. So sacrifice the season by giving them a good heavy prune. Not now, it's a bit late in the year. So give them a light prune, take all the dead, damaged and diseased off this year. Then next year, give them a harder prune. That'll remove most of the lichen. Burn it all. Put the ash back on the ground where around the trees you pruned, and you'll race away. The lichen shouldn't bother you. It doesn't harm the tree. It only really grows on in healthy environments. So just learn to live with it and enjoy it. Appreciate it.
Well, good luck in your new orchard there. So,
good luck with your new orchard.
Well, the key phrase I heard there was sacrifice the year, and that's not a bad idea anyways. If you're new to a plot, why not just sit it out and watch it?
Well, it's a bit late in the year now to do any heavy pruning. All the fruit trees are now coming to flower, and they'll all be racing away with new growth. And you really don't want to be pruning them this time of year. You want to leave it till next winter and do it just after Christmas.
All right. There
so
you
it's
go,
kind
Phil.
of it's kind of missed the window of opportunity.
I see.
So yeah,
okay.
Leave it, let it ride out this year. Obviously, take off the dead, damaged, diseased. Live with what you've got and appreciate it, and then it gives you time to sit back and look at it as well and see how you want to develop the garden. Because you might actually want to take some of the trees out, or you might want to really strip some back, or maybe do what I like to do is a 50-50 cull. Give a heavy prune to 50% and leave the rest till the following year. And then you're not overworking yourself, and you're not destroying all your gardening. You're not going to destroy the garden, but you're not ruining all your opportunity for fruit in one go. You still get fruit off 50% while the others are regenerating.
Very good plan. And I guess after 20 years, there's going to be a pretty good yield in there anyway, isn't there? That's been untouched for a while.
They're going to be, even if they're untouched for 20, 30 years, they're going to produce fruit this year. But it also means there's going to be a lot to take off. There's going to be a lot of dead stuff in it. There's going to be a lot of twisted branches when they're rubbing together. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's too high up to harvest. So that it's going to be I imagine it's going to be a lot of hard work. So maybe doing 50% this year, or 50% next Christmas, and 50%, the remaining 50% the Christmas after is the best way to go.
All right. All the best in Oberdosh, Phil. That's a great question. Yeah, have fun in your orchard. We still got pictures to come from Louise. Beautiful pictures, Louise, and also from Sharon, who is here. I hope you're still here, Sharon, because we want to share your lovely pictures of Sintra, and you've been out and about and taking us some lovely snaps as well. So those still to come. But now, ladies and gentlemen, for your sustainable pleasure, Mr. John Aggett will talk us through this article here. Thanks for spotting this, John. What drew your eye to this? We need you unmuted, sir. You tease us, John.
It was just a sort of idea I had to sort of have something on for the show, just because, just as a bit of a filler, extra filler type thing. Just, you know, in case we, just extra, because I just thought, I thought, well, maybe people don't necessarily know what are the best sustainable ways, and this is a Royal Horticultural Society article, so I'm guessing it's fairly good. But it's 10, I think it's 10, 10 ways. So I'll just read out the 10 ways, and then I'll share the article on our Facebook page.
Perfect.
So then people can have a proper look themselves. Okay, so number 1, plant a tree. So there's a bit of detail there, but to avoid any copyright or anything like that, I'll post it in the group, and then people can just don't want to read it out. So
okay, I'll scroll through as you read them.
Water the way nature intended. Again, more details once you click on the article when I share it. Go peat free, because I know they used to use that as fuel and all sorts, didn't they, back in the day? Maybe they still do in some places. I'm not sure. Make your own compost. I think that's something we've talked about in the past, possibly, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, indeed. And we'll do more on that. Yeah, we'll do more on that.
Pull up a paving slab. Again, more information. Plants for pollinators. So obviously, plants for bees and butterflies and so on. And there's a helpful. It's got a brief amount of information. Then you can click on a link, see a list of plants for pollinators to tell you what are good plants for pollinating creatures. Grow your own bunch of flowers. Apparently, so yeah. But isn't that kind of part of what gardening is? That's a lot.
I think the concern there is a lot of the cut flowers that people buy in the UK are actually grown in Africa and then exported to the UK. So they're trying to stop the fuel miles and the air miles of cut flowers. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right,
John. Yeah.
Some imported flowers have 10 times the carbon footprint of home or UK grown bouquets. So yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Electrify your garden. So that's obviously to do with petrol lawnmowers versus electric lawnmowers.
That was some sort of torture treatment.
And it's a bit more detailed than that, but help.
Sorry, John.
UK garden plant biodiversity. And 10, eat more homegrown, local and seasonal fruit and vegetables. And now, which we've talked about a lot, haven't we? So there's a couple of things we've actually mentioned before in the past on here. So
I think we've pretty much over the year we've pretty much covered all of those at some point, apart from the lifting of the flag. Now I've not read the article, so I'm only going off what I understand it to be is creating more soil space to catch more rainwater. So if you've got hard driveways and you've got block paving, the water just runs straight into the drain and disappears down into the river systems.
Yes.
So what they're trying to do is to encourage you to lift flags so the rainwater can soak into your ground rather than run off into the drains. But pretty standard, agree with most of them. all of them, and we've talked about at least 9 of them we've done already in the show. So it shows that we're ahead of the curve.
On trend, mate. On trend. Well spotted there.
We are.
And
yeah,
this
good article, John.
Raising a flag's interesting, isn't it? So as well as being patriotic and raising a flag for your nation, you can raise a flag for Mother Earth, can't you? By literally taking up a flagstone. Perfect. Well done, John. Understand if you have to go soon. We'll go to the last few questions that we have. And given that, nice one, John. Given that Louise is here now, Scoop, very late to the show tonight. Well, I haven't showed your pictures yet. Here they are. And we've some lovely roses from you, I think, this evening. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? I'll take your comment off so that we can see those. Some beautiful blooms that they may or may not be roses. There's definitely some rose pictures here. There we go. I think that's more like it. There we go. And some growing here, your lettuces. Companion planted with some onions in there, I think. So the growing's looking great over where you are, Louise. Thank you so much for showing those, sharing those pickies that we can show here. And a bit more companion going on there. A bloom next to a nasturtium. I know they're both blooms, but you can eat nasturtiums as well, can't you? You can eat the flowers and the leaves in salad. They're nice and peppery. Thank you, Louise, so much. How to care for a houseplant then? T-Duck, thank you very much. Proud owner of this houseplant. What is that? Is that a yucca? That you've got there.
I think it's a yellow dragon tail. I can only just make it out on the screen, but I think it's
okay. And
I think it is. I'm on a small screen.
All right, and I think the question came in via the chat about those. But what's the best way to look after houseplants like this? I mean, they all vary a little bit, don't they? But there are some general rules for houseplants.
They do. I'm surrounded here by I can't count, maybe 15 houseplants in the living room. I'm a bit obsessive with them at the moment. So in the wintertime, water them once a month. In the summertime, water them every second week. Every 2 weeks. And then every other watering, give it a feed. So once a month, give it a feed. Then a water, then a feed, then a water, then a feed. Some plants, I've got quite a shaded front room, living room. We only get a brief direct sunlight. So I've gone for the bigger leafed and the more variegated leaf plants. So they prefer the shade. But whenever you buy a plant, it'll say on the packaging whether it prefers shade or direct sunlight. Kind of stick to that because otherwise they will die. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. They buy a plant and just bang it in the corner and think it'll do okay there. And a plant that likes direct sunlight, and it doesn't like the partial sunlight, and it makes all the difference. I've got a peace lily on the dining table here, and because it doesn't get enough sunlight, the flowers are actually going green. The flower covers are going green, where they should be brilliant white. I'll just show you. So you get this is this flower cover, this petal case should be brilliant white, but she doesn't get enough direct sunlight. So she gets enough feed that she's lush and she's green, but the stems are also green. So I'm but I still love it. It's still a great plant.
Yes, indeed.
So in the summertime during the growing season, I'll do a water, then a water feed. In the winter, do a minimum once a month feed, once a month water with no feed. And also here in Portugal, I would always recommend use little clay balls that you can buy from the garden centres. Add it to your soil because they retain water as well and allow the drainage for the water to get to the bottom of the pot. And don't take another mistake I see people make quite a lot, taking the plant out of the nursery pot and putting it into a plant pot. Where what you should actually do is like I've done here, I'll show you again with a lily. She's still in the nursery pot, and the nursery pot is hidden inside the plant pot. It just makes them so much easier to water and to care for. So oversize your exterior pot to hide the nursery pot. And then you can swap out the nursery pots when and if needed.
All right, there you go, T-Duck. Don't mess it up. Okay, I think it looks like it's in a wicker basket. Now that might have some drainage and watering issues. We might need a bit of a clean up on that.
it's becoming more popular. IKEA started advertising some of their images, this little wicker bag that they have, and they had a plant in the wicker bag. I think they had a cheese plant in a wicker bag in one of the pictures, and it kind of set a bit of a craze. I noticed on my Instagram feed, loads of people were posting pictures of cheese plants in wicker bags, and then complaining that wicker bags were soaking wet through.
Yeah, of course.
But you can get like a deep terracotta pot and put that inside the wicker bag, and then you plant pot inside that, so you feed in a pot within a pot with the wicker bag just to hide it.
Okay, so you use the wicker as decorative and cosmetic. Okay, fair enough.
But you can't use a small tray. You can't use the small wicker terracotta trays. You need to use a bigger dish to catch the water.
Okay. The wicker basket is lined with plastic, and it is just a cover. It's in a pot inside the wicker bag. Excellent, T-Duck. Thank you for that. Got it. Thanks.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm still not sure about direct sunlight. So if it is one of those dragon plants that you think it is, there, Lee, should it be in direct or indirect sunlight?
Mine's in partial shade. So we do have one, and I have one in that we use. I only have one for the rental company because I don't particularly like them. They're a bit bland.
Okay.
Well, no. The problem is they get the tall leaf at the top, and they can go from looking really good to looking uncared for in a week. And I don't visit my rental plants I only visit maybe fortnight. So you're constantly stripping off leaves from the base of them. So they're not an easy to care for plant. They're not an easy to maintain in a good state plant. So I don't really use them for that. But we have one here, and it's in partial light, and it does very well.
Superb.
If you do suffer with a dark room like we do, go for plants that are really big leaved, or go for variegated leaf plants, like these fellas down here in the corner. I don't know if you can see that in the light. I've got this really dark corner here that gets no light, but they're variegated leaves, so it's got green and white shapes in the leaves, and they do really well in the shade.
Superb.
Oh, I love houseplants. Okay. Talk about houseplants all day.
Yeah, well, clearly. We have to move on. We're over time. Thank you, everybody. I've got a few more comments, though. And it is a Dracanya plant, which is what you basically said, wasn't it? That's just the Latin name for dragon plant.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Louise. OLP saying, Lee, you are the master. Thanks for all the great advice. I'm looking forward to that movie.
What we should do is mention John's YouTube channel, YouTube channel that he does. So I watched it for the first time probably last week, and it was brilliant.
Well,
so let's give that a shout out before the end of the show.
Yes, Mr. Agate, because I was saying, can we mention this in the group? And John was
sorry, modest. I didn't realise it was a secret.
It's not a secret, but I think, John, to be fair to you, you were saying, is it appropriate? Is it the right link to be made? I thought it was because we have a very high opinion of you and your output on YouTube. Do you want to say a little bit about it before you go?
Yeah, I can do. Basically what it is, because as, you guys know I'm autistic. I don't know how many of the listeners know that. But anyway, I was talking about why it's kind of important in my opinion anyway, for parents to tell their children that they're autistic if they get diagnosed, because they'll probably know there's something anyway. I mean, I think you just would, because of hospital place, that going to hospital and doctors and teachers and everything, teaching and that sort of thing. So I just think I can see, kind of understand why people wouldn't, but also I think that really they shouldn't. I say more in the video anyway. So yeah,
I thought the video was brilliant, John.
The gist of it.
Just want to give you a shout out. Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah. Thank you.
How do people find it, John?
It seems to be going down quite well so far. I mean, it's
how do people search for it?
Sorry, my mistake. How do they find it? As in, where is it on the internet, rather than how do they experience it?
Oh, I see. Right. Well, it's on my YouTube channel. So I can actually share it on the. Well, no, I've already posted on the group, haven't I? So I'd be posting.
That's fine. Could you pop it in here in the chat in here? And we'll strike while the iron's hot if somebody wants to subscribe. to that while I show the last few pickies. Sharon, thank you so much, and thank you for being patient. Here, pics from my hike in the Sintra Cascais National Park that you may share online with the Happy Homesteaders. Thank you very much indeed. Sharing with the Happy Homesteaders tonight, then this evening, if you see fit, we certainly see fit, Sharon. The first, I think, is a blooming acacia tree. And I'm getting inspiration for a woodsy style yard. Well, taking inspiration from nature is a great idea, isn't it, Lee? And is this indeed a blooming acacia? I think it might be mine. It does look like some of the acacia forest blooms that you see on the plantations here in Portugal. And here as well, some lovely. Is that I don't know what that is. Is that a kind of gorsey plant there? Some lovely. That you see many of those here in the Portuguese landscape, don't you? Are they the ice plants? Is that what they're called? I may be.
We've had those before. Yeah.
That's some gorse there as well. It's some yellow gorse. So thank you so much. But those are beautiful blooms there, pom-poms, possibly of the acacia variety. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing those. And I do have John Aggett's link to his YouTube channel if you want to subscribe. Let's shout out to you as well, Anna, of course, because you do a gardening stream as well, don't you? You do your own gardening Q&A from time to time on Facebook. You there, Anna?
Yeah, just sort of try and find articles that I find are useful, and just working out how to go with it really at the moment. But
you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And just putting the links in there. I'm just calling it John's YT for the sake of time. That's in there, and on Facebook, Anna as well. Of course, to subscribe to. Kathy, I agree, John. I teach children with special needs, and they seem relieved to get a diagnosis as they thought it was their fault. Thank you, says Kathy to you, John. And this for you both, and I think all of us here, thank you for all your help and dedication to the channel there. To you, Anna, to you, John, and certainly you, the head gardener, who turns up. And you got a nice nice compliment. Yeah, of course, OLP, you are the master. Thanks for all the great advice. I'm seeing kind of martial arts movie, but with plants, and you as the
Don't
star.
get carried away. Don't get carried away, Carl.
Okay, thanks everybody. You've done very, very well tonight. That's everybody watching as well. Beautiful to be able to share the pictures. Keep those coming in. 913-590-303. Great job, Anna. Great job, John. And thank you very much, head gardener Lee McGrady. We'll see you here next week, won't we? And possibly, is this a little bit of a tease for the possibility that we might be going to Jason Hall's Kinter next week, if weather permitting? Is that right?
I think the weather forecast is spot on and just right. And Kinter is gorgeous, and it's just perfect for a good walk around, a good showing. He's got it to a great standard.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. And plot twists and turns. Things change. We advertise things sometimes, and things change in people's lives and in the climate, of course. That's all part of gardening, isn't it, Lee?
It's all part of the fun.
It's all part of the fun. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be at Quinta Esencial, I think it's called, isn't it? Jason's place next week, and a little tour around there. We did it before. We're looking forward to doing it again to see what happens. See what's happened since we were last visiting. Take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Thanks for being here. Ciao, ciao. See you next week. Bye.